Accept and ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, jobs that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the grind on the cars is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live. And I promise I'll try to. Before you count me out, homie, let me remind you, they was blocking the shine. Now I think it's my time to. Counting them dollar signs like lights, they'll blind you. Let me rewind to back when I was broke and I couldn't acquire 2 cents, and now I got 2 rents. They was sleeping on me, homie, must have got too big. Call my phone, I be like, who this? Damn right, hell yeah, I'm brand new. Smell like can too. I'm fresh forever like canned food. Try and tell me what I can't do. I wanna see the world, my vision on Shamu. That mean I got goals that's real big, foes that's real big. Y'all offer too little, sorry, my soul is real.
Hello, everybody, and greetings. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight on this episode of TK's Chronicles of a Black Sheep. I'm the host, TK, and I have 2 out of my 3 co-hosts with me tonight. The other one is still he's still locked up somewhere. Bless his heart. But it's been peaceful. So two Libras in one session is just be overwhelming at times. So whenever we ain't got one, we gonna count it as a blessing. Count it all joy.
Interesting.
Bless.
I'm just saying, both of y'all, man, like.
Man, I don't even be doing nothing. I be chilling. I be in the cut, relaxing. That's it. Mr. Nice Guy. I'm cool, calm, and collective.
I'm gonna burn my incense on that note. So yeah, while we got the host tonight, the co-host, we got Nika Pinks. You didn't took your Rhythm Nation hat off?
I wanted to wait. Look, I'm over here. Can I put it back on? Can I please put it? You know what?
No, I was waiting for you to rock it. You was over there looking cute. You was giving me Janet vibes. I was like, oh, how
Miss Pinks, if you're next.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Here we go. All right. And the other host, the other co-host, DJ. He didn't change his name umpteen million times. I'm sorry, ain't my fault. You don't know who the hell he is. Apparently, he going through an identity crisis.
Here we go.
Dude, you didn't change. You didn't change your name about 3-4 times since you've been on here, Lord.
So the reason why I changed it now is because I logged in from a different platform, and I couldn't remember the previous name. So anyways, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all. Come on, let's get it going.
Yes. So how was y'all's week? This is what, the 2nd week of the new year? Y'all still feeling the
week? My week was interesting. Everything that was said that would take place actually took place. From the negative to the positive, to the T, and y'all know what I'm talking about. Everything that was told for me to watch out for, to prepare for, literally, it happened this week. And so I'm glad that there was.
So are you referring to what I sent you?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'm talking about to the T. Everything.
Damn.
Like, I got a raise on my job. But people was testing me. It was coming from everywhere. It was coming from everywhere. But I remember those words, and I was able to center myself. Thank you, to remember those focal points and those. So I got through it. Thank y'all.
T.
Oh, yay! Congratulations! Huh?
Look at my little baby. My
I'm
little
looking
baby.
what's to come. I'm looking forward to what's to come. It's just
Hercules. So I'm gonna call your ass out a little bit though, in celebration of you. Why the hell you just not saying this on the podcast? And we had breakfast and shit this morning, and talked to you during the week, and you ain't said a motherfucking thing, but then you want to get on here and make a public service announcement. But I'm gonna let you make it.
Well, because how much have we been talking during this week? If you notice, I've been kind of quiet.
Kinda.
I've been quiet intentionally because I was going through everything that I was supposed to go through. So as I'm going through it, I go through it. Then afterwards, then we talk about it.
And then he was too busy feeding his face this morning to talk.
Wait.
Man.
Had one meal. I didn't have 2 meals.
First of all, I had a sample.
Look, you didn't even have to say nothing, T. You could have just played dumb.
No, because he's trying to be funny. Because I know he's been trying to go there all day. I had a taco to try it to make sure it was to my liking, because beef is expensive. Carne asadas are expensive.
That taco was
so I did try one to make sure it was to my liking, to make sure the meat was tender and they didn't have all that other stuff that me and my bestie don't like in it. So I took one for the team to make sure it's good. So it was good. That taco was fucking fantabulous. Like,
it was delicious.
Melted all in your mouth. Like it melted in your mouth. It was delicious. So while I was there, I figured let me try something else. I tried something else. Ain't nothing bigger than that. So I tried something else, which was the enchilada, so I could get some more carne asada, because that carne asada was bomb, dog. That put me in a coma. I came home and was out for like 4 hours. Out of there. I was sleeping good. Yeah. That meal was better than sex.
Wait, what?
I think that a little bit too far.
That put me in a coma.
I understand where you're going.
That you've been neglected in the sex area because I'm sorry. Never mind. Let's keep moving. So yeah, it was a good week.
That was a foodgasm.
Definitely interesting.
Yeah, we know that meat.
It was very good. Along. It did. Felt wonderful in my mouth. It was a very good taco.
I can't play. I'm done. Y'all, come on now. Please behave.
It was all cheesy and oh man, that was all that you did good today, for real. On the food spot, you did amazing, because you did awesome today. That was on point. Peace was ready to go back. So yeah, my week was good. It went kind of fast. It was interesting. Well, actually, I almost cussed like some people out this week, so maybe not. I almost cussed a couple of people out. Maybe trying to test my gangster.
You have no gangster.
Yeah. So anyway, but it went well. Putting some stuff in motion, collecting some information, getting some info together and researching and stuff. So it was kind of a busy week. So I'll take it. Setting the foundation. So yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Wonderful. Think you was good this week? Everything all right?
Yeah, I think it was good. I mean, a lot of stuff that needs to be done that we just waiting on, So I'm ready to get the ball rolling. I'm kind of sad because I didn't wake up a billionaire this morning. But
man, that part
is always tomorrow. Wait a minute, I could have played tonight. It's
tonight because the lottery is tonight too. So
tonight, I didn't wake up a multi-billionaire, but there is still time, and I will claim it and receive it to get me some coins because we got things to do. So I'm
yes,
good. I'm
definitely.
good.
And tonight we are burning positive vibes. Me and D, we burning positive vibes on over here. Don't ask for nothing because I only got one box. So nobody asked me for no incense because I only got one box. But yeah, but smells fine.
I got a mixture.
Dang, that's what we was doing tonight. We doing commercials and stuff.
I got the positive vibe as well as the precious patchouli.
Yes, patchouli go hard in the paint. So
Okay,
yes.
then.
So all right. So tonight,
Palo Santo.
Bam, that was given by the bestie.
Yep, I still got it. It stays in here. I only burn it podcast nights.
I love it. That's one of my favorites. That and Dragon's Blood. Oh my God, I love it. Yeah. I'm an incense whore. Anybody, I love my incense. It changes your mood. So yeah, I'm gonna say, God damn it. All right. So tonight, I am excited to have this guest on tonight. She is actually one of our followers. And we met on TikTok. So this is part of also the TikTok fam. Let me see. Hold on. Before she gets situated. Let's see. She over there working. She was having some technical difficulties. So she over there. I'm looking at her, she working it out. She got that other laptop going. So I am definitely excited to have her on to tell her story. So of course tonight's topic is called Matters of the Heart. So we try to not only have discussions about relationships and life and things going on, but we also like to have episodes educating and opening our eyes to other illnesses, diseases, diagnosis, and everything, because this is that stuff that be little tucked in the corner somewhere that a lot of people don't like to talk about, don't know about, or don't want to address. So we are going to have this topic tonight, and ask everybody, of course, to definitely remain respectful in the comments, and don't start none, won't be none, because I will be monitoring, and of course YouTube do their job too. So we're gonna go ahead and get this started, and we are going to bring on Slee Just Me. Hey Slee.
Hey.
I see you got it going over there. I saw you doing the changes in the background. I say, look at her. She working it. She getting it done. That's what's up. Awesome. Welcome to the Chronicles. And we are glad to have you on tonight. You're in the comments, but today you are up yonders.
Up yonders.
I made it to the big screen.
Yes.
Moving on up.
So that is, yes, definitely. So tell us a little bit about Slee. What you shooting a piece on for?
I was speaking.
So hi everybody. Let me first speak to everybody. I am Slee Just Me. Sorry. I am Slee Just Me. I live in Texas. And I don't know what else. Follow me on TikTok because I'm trying to get to 10,000 by June. 20,000 by.
I'm surprised you ain't there yet.
And we're gonna talk about not yet close. I'm like almost 6,500.
Man, that'd be a whole.
So yeah,
we're gonna talk about Softly Awakened. Cool.
Yay! I am actually live on. I'm live on TikTok right now as well, and so I'm trying to, spread it. I've shared the link a lot, so I shared it to my Facebook and all the rest of that stuff. So yeah, we'll talk about some stuff.
Okay. Great. Awesome. So I became aware of your condition, of course, from us being on TikTok, and it just blew me away. And I was like, oh yeah, we definitely got to have you on. Of course, which you were more than open to being on to have this discussion. So I'm, like I said, super excited because it was definitely something that I was not aware of. And I was like, ah. And then when you hit me with the abbreviation, from me being an autism mom, I just know that is being referred to one for autism. So I was like, oh, okay. That is. So can you tell us what ASD is for you?
ASD for me stands for atrial septal defect. I guess I'll start at the beginning.
Definitely.
An atrial septal defect is a defect in your heart. Before I was born, my heart never fully formed. So I was born with what is commonly known as I had a hole in my heart and I had a heart murmur. Pretty much everybody is born with a hole in their heart, but usually within a couple of hours of birth, it closes. For some people, it doesn't close, and it grows. For some people, it just takes a little longer for it to close, but most people, the whole in hours of birth. But the places where my defect was, it did not close. It just stayed open and it grew as I grew. That was one of them. The other defect that I had was called mitral valve prolapse. So the easiest way to describe it is in your heart, you have 4 chambers, like a quick anatomy lesson. You have 4 chambers of your heart. The top part of your heart is called your atrium. The bottom part is your ventricles. And in between the 4 chambers, because on one side of your heart, there's blood without oxygen. And on the other side of the heart, there's oxygenated blood. And there's a wall of tissue that separates the two. I did not have the wall that separated the two at all. And so unoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood were commingling. Unoxygenated blood was going out to my body, which is a very bad thing. The other problem I had, the other defect I have is called mitral valve prolapse. Your mitral valve is a valve that goes in between the atrium and the ventricles, and it opens and closes with each heartbeat. And when it opens, blood pools down into that chamber. And when it closes, it contracts and it pushes the blood out to your body. So it's supposed to do like this. Mine did like this.
So can I ask you a question that may seem, I don't know, it may seem shallow, but so you also deal with alopecia, correct?
I do.
Right, and that's a autoimmune, right?
It is.
Does that have to do with the unoxygenated blood being pumped through, or?
If it does, I'm not aware.
Okay.
Yeah. If it does, I'm not aware. But it could.
I mean, it's kind of how that works, correct? The blood.
Blood does have to go out to your body, but alopecia is a separate issue.
Okay.
Yeah. So if there's a correlation between cardiac issues and alopecia, I'm not aware of it.
Well, because I was just thinking about the unoxygenated blood, flowing, and maybe, okay.
Yeah. But I didn't have the valve. Not enough of that valve in my heart ever formed for it to be able to close. With the condition that I was born with, every medical textbook will tell you that I should not have lived with the condition being untreated. I should not have lived past my 6th birthday. I should have experienced a sudden cardiac event, heart failure. I should have experienced heart failure prior to my 6th birthday. However, I didn't even know I had it until I was 12. We found out.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask that. When did you actually get diagnosed? Because all this time, as you said, by 6, the alarm should have been going. So this went unknown until you were 12.
Until I was 12. So I was the kid. You remember that kid when you were little? Like they was always sick. If it was something going around, they was gonna be the first one to catch it.
I got one of those. I got
That
one
was
of
me.
those.
So it's really strange that nobody caught it prior to prior to me being 12, because I was always at the doctor. I was always at the doctor because I
Yeah.
was the sick kid. I was the one that was if it was something going, I was gonna catch it. But no one ever caught it. And so when I was 12, I started having nosebleeds. This is how we found the road to finding out. I started having nosebleeds. And at first it was like, once every couple weeks, once a week. Like then it was like every other day. Then it was like every day. And then like I would have long nosebleeds, like 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. Like my nose would just, and I didn't have to be doing anything. I didn't have to be too hot. I literally be sitting down watching TV. I could be in class and it would just start bleeding. And it got to the points where it was just annoying. And so my mama was like, I was having to take extra clothes to school with me because I'd be sitting in class, my nose would just start bleeding and I'd drip all over my clothes. And so my mama took me to, well, no, I was having the nosebleeds. And this is where the churchy part comes in. I'm a PK. I was at an end of the year revival at the church, or it was a citywide end of the year revival. And there was this lady named Joyce Rogers, Evangelist Joyce Rogers. She just passed away last year. I went up to get prayer for these nosebleeds because I was tired of the nosebleeds as well. And she said to me, "Baby, where is your mama?" And I pointed my mama out, and she said, "I need you to get her to a doctor because it's not just a nosebleed. Something else is going on. You need to get this baby to a doctor, and you need to get her to a doctor quickly." So my mama made an appointment with the ear, nose, and throat doctor. I went to the ENT appointment, and when he was checking my vitals, he said to us, "Listen, my dad's an ENT and my granddad is an ENT. I've always known that's the area of medicine that I wanted to go into." He said, "And my cardiac rotation was a very long time ago, and I barely remember anything. But I think I heard a heart murmur when I listened to her. I'm not sure if that's what I heard, but I think it is." He said, "There's a pediatric cardiologist that comes to town once a month," because I grew up in a very small town in Texas. "There's a pediatric cardiologist that comes to town once a month. If you will take her to this appointment and take her to go see this pediatric cardiologist, I'll pay for the appointment because I just want to know what I heard." So my mama scheduled the appointment. I went to go see the cardiologist, did an EKG, and the doctor walks in. He sticks his stethoscope to my chest, tells me to breathe in and out a couple times, puts it on my back, tells me to breathe in and out a couple times. He takes it off and he says, "Okay, I know exactly what's wrong with her." And we was like, wait, hold on, sir. We didn't know nothing was really wrong with me. What do you mean? And so then, of course, he was confused, like, why would we be at a cardiologist appointment if we didn't think something was wrong? And so my mama told him. He left out. He went and got the ear, nose, and throat doctor because they were in the same building, brought him back into the room with us and explained it to me, my mama, and the ENT all at the same time. And that's how I found out.
That's exactly and then a mom with one of those kids that it seemed like every time the wind blows, they got something. As your mom, speak of that, did you send the link to your mama?
Yes, I did. I don't know if she watched, but I did.
Okay, cool. There are certain diagnoses that are in life when you get, and it just be like your whole world and fail. Like, you sitting there like, damn, like you like, wait a minute, did I just hear what I thought I heard? Repeat that one more time for the people in the back, because it's like, okay, you start going through the motions of how do we miss this? This kid is always, and my kid was like that too, lived in the doctor's office. So like, how the hell do we miss this? Like all of that. So after you got to that point where now you know what is wrong, what was that next step?
Mm-hmm. He told us that I needed to have open heart surgery. The mama said,
yeah.
When? He said, we can get it done. And so my mama said, well, school just started back after Christmas break. Can we wait till the summer? Because he explained that after the surgery, I was going to have to be out of school for anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks to recover. And she said, well, school just started back after Christmas break. Can we wait till the summer? And then, you know, she got surgery in the summer. And he said, well, yes, she could. He said, but this is what we're facing. And he said, she's facing heart failure. If the difference in a heart attack and heart failure is if she has a heart attack and she dies, we can shock her and bring her back. Possibly. If she has heart failure, she dies and she's dead. My mama said, so how soon can we schedule this surgery? Literally 21 days after I found out that I had to have surgery, I was on an operating table. So I found out. I had my very first open heart surgery. It's about to be 30 years. January 26th will be 30 years ago from my very first open heart surgery.
Wait, you said first. So how many to this date have you had?
4.
Wow.
I've had 4 open heart surgeries and I've had 3 pacemaker surgeries.
Okay, so that's what 7 surgeries that you've had, because you had to have 4 here and 3 here.
7 cardiac surgeries, yes. Cardiac related surgeries.
Well, you know, I already told you when I even heard just a bit, I was like, this is a whole survivor right here. You bring a whole different definition to survivor.
My mom
literally, because
was watching on, and she said my heart was already enlarged by 40%. I forgot that part. Did you hear me, TK? Yeah. My mom was watching on TikTok, and she said my heart was already enlarged by 40% at that time.
Wow. Ooh. Ooh. Like, how did you even digest that news at 12?
No, I didn't. Can y'all hear me? It went away for a second.
Yeah, you break it up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. How at 12 do you digest that news?
Honestly, I prayed about it. I had people praying for me. They told me that wasn't the end of my story, and I believed them.
Yeah.
And then I had a phenomenal pediatric cardiologist. And the hospital that I went to, the pediatric ward that I went to was amazing. They did everything to kind of make it easier for me. So like I went into the hospital a couple days before my surgery. They took blood from me. They took my own blood from me in case I need blood during the surgery, so they could give me my own blood back. So I didn't have to get like donor blood. And then they had this doll that they could make whatever was wrong with you, they could make it wrong with the doll, right? Like a little mannequin cadaver looking thing. And so the day before I had my surgery, they came and got me. I went into this mock operating room, scrubbed in, and I performed the surgery on the doll that I was going to have done on me.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So I was fully aware of what was going to happen to me because I did it to the doll.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. Wow. So I remember on one of the conversations we had on TikTok, you mentioned that, of course, there's I guess you could say, a expiration date to you having the device, and it's not
Yes.
you kind of don't even know when, basically, it will stop.
Well, okay, so we're talking about two different things. So the open heart surgery was primarily on the ASD and the mitral valve, right? The pacemaker is a completely different situation. So the pacemaker come into play until after the fourth open heart surgery, and I developed a complication after that surgery. That was the first time that I had ever developed a complication from surgery. Past, my body didn't necessarily like come back off of from the artificial methods that they have to work to keep your body pumping and all of that stuff. Sometimes I would have a little trouble coming back from that. But primarily, I didn't develop any complications until after my fourth surgery, kind of. So the reason I had to have the second surgery, let me tell y'all that real quick. The day I was supposed to go home from the hospital, I had been in the hospital. The day I was supposed to go home from the hospital after the first surgery, my doctor came into my room. I knew that was the day I was supposed to go home. He came into my room that morning. He said, "How you feeling?" I said, I'm feeling fine. I'm ready to go home. And mind you, I was 12. I was away from all my friends. This is back, when they still had long distance calling. And, I couldn't talk to none of my friends. I was in Dallas away from everybody. So I was ready to go home. He said, "Did you sleep well?" And I said, "I slept real good. I'm ready to go home." And he said, "I sleep that good. I'm sorry, but I'm ready to go home." And so he said, "Well, before you go home, I want to do another echo." And all the echo it's an echocardiogram. It's basically a sonogram, the same kind of sonogram you get when you're pregnant. They just do it on your heart. So they call it something different. He said, "Well, I want to do another echo on you before you go home." And I said, "Okay." So the tech came in to do the echo. And by this time I had a few of them. So me and my mama were kind of familiar with what we were looking at. And so we saw this little thing in there, and it looked like it was waving at us like this. Every time my heart would beat, it was doing this. And the tech was like, and she was pressing a little hard, and she kept. And so my mom said, "What's that little thing waving at us?" And she was like, and she said, "Where is the patch that they put in her heart?" Because that's how they repaired it. They put to patch the wall. They basically built me a wall, and they used this little material to patch it up. And the woman was like, "Oh, that's over here." And she moved that little thing like way down in my stomach somewhere. And I remember me and my mama looking at each other like. So my doctor comes back in, and he tells us that the patch that he had put in, the sutures, which are stitches on the inside of your body, the sutures had come out. Mm-hmm. So had I come that day, I would have left the hospital with the exact same problem that I came into the hospital with.
Damn.
So I had to have another open heart surgery in order for them to refix what they had just fixed. So that was the second one. So I had that surgery February 2nd of 1993. So it'll be 30 years from my second open heart surgery on February 2nd.
Damn, that's a lot on the body, and a child at that. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
They told us that I would probably never be able to have kids, because they said that my heart would never be strong enough to sustain to full term. And that if I ever got pregnant, at some point, a choice would have to be made, my life or my baby's life. I have a 24-year-old son that I had with no cardiac complications. And I was like a month overdue. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you definitely blew me away when you told me that, because it's like when they tell you no, God says yes. So that's like
it's funny you say that. Me and my mom talk about this, and we kind of laugh about it. Pretty much anything that the doctors tell me, if they say, oh, this is absolutely going to happen, positive or negative, it never happens for me. If they say, oh, there's absolutely no way this is going to happen, positive, negative, it always happens. My case is always the direct contradiction of what they have expected, what they have said every single time. Every single time.
Yeah. And I love that, because that the diagnosis itself is already heavy. But like you said, with everything, you've bypassed, because like it says at 6, they was like, yeah, she should have been up out of here. But especially with it being untreated. But even now, like, look where you are. You have your son, no issues. So, man, like I said, your story was like unbelievable to me. Like, it's that thing that's like, I'm covered. Like, literally, like, God got me in every sense. And I just love it.
He does.
Yes, definitely. So when you were talking about the pacemaker, and you said like the timing of the pacemaker, you kind of don't know when the pacemaker technically is going to go. It's like kind of
yes and no.
Going with the flow.
Okay. I get my pacemaker, I get a check every 3 months. So I go to my cardiologist and they check it every 6 months. And then I have a device that stays in my bedroom, and it does basically like a telecheck. The next one will be March. Yeah, in March. And it basically checks it while I'm asleep. I sleep, right? And then it sends report to my doctor's office. And then they call me and say, hey, this is what your device is doing, blah, blah, blah. And then in June, I'll go in and the technician will check it in person. So it checks every 3 months. So in March, it does it at home. In June, I go in and say, where everybody go? I think y'all can see it. There you go.
Yeah,
and so
we can still hear you. You broke up a little bit.
When I go in, she can see. Okay. When I go in, she can tell me about how much battery I have left on my pacemaker.
Okay.
And so it lasts anywhere between 5 to 7 years. And so right now I have about 2.5, almost 3 years left on this battery. And then it'll be time for me to go in to get it redone. But when basically, you know how like when your phone battery gets low, it beeps and it tells you, hey, your battery's low and you need to put it on the charger. So when it gets close to time, probably when I have about anywhere between 30 to 60 days left on my battery, once a day, it will set off an alarm that you can hear. And it sounds like the British police. And it does it for like 10 seconds. And it says, and it does it for like 10 seconds. And then it stops. And it does it every day until you go have the procedure to have it changed.
Yes. Okay, so the first time that happened, did it like scare the hell out of you?
Yeah. Listen, I was getting out of my car. I was getting ready to go into work, right? I was getting ready to go into work, and I was getting out of the car, and it said, and I was like, is it me? And I immediately called the doctor's office. And I mean, because I knew in December when I had my checkup in December, she had told me it's gonna be next year sometime. Like at some point next year is when you're gonna have the surgery to have it upgraded. And I was like, okay. So when it did it, I was like, was it me? So I immediately called and I was like, I need to speak. Her name is Tori. I was like, I need to speak to Tori. And so as soon as she got on the phone, she was like, hey, did your alarm just go off? That was me for real. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was you.
That would have.
And I was like, how much time do I have? And she was like, about 60 days, no more than 90. And I said, okay. And so I was like, what do I need to do? And I had some other life was happening at that point. Like life was for real happening. And I was like, all right, give me a little bit. I'll be there. And so it started going off in May, the beginning of May. And I had the procedure July 8th. That was the third pacemaker surgery. Oh yeah, I was pushing it.
You was pushing.
I'd have been there July 9th.
Baby. Yeah, you was pushing it.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I was pushing it. But life was lifing.
I'd have been there July 9th.
Life do be lifing. Yeah, life do be lifing. You definitely right. Life be lifing. Oh yeah. Okay, so like I said, I learned so much from TikTok when we go live. So, what precautions with, I want to say, just day-to-day life do you have to take? Because I know one of the times you had a dental appointment, yes, and there's even precautions you have to take with your dental procedures.
Yes. So anytime I go to the dentist, because I'm a cardiac patient, I have to do what they call pre-med, which means I have to take antibiotics before I go to the dentist. An hour before I have any dental procedure, even just cleaning, I have to take like 2,000 milligrams of antibiotic. Because a lot of people don't understand that the same plaque that builds up on your teeth, you know how you about people having bypass surgeries and their arteries are all clogged up? That same plaque that builds up on your teeth is the exact same plaque that be in your arteries, clogging them up. So there's like a direct line into your body. And so if they do something wrong, if they poke something, if I get some kind of infection in my mouth, it could directly affect my heart. And so I have to pre-med before I go to dentist appointments. I have developed congestive heart failure. So there's a whole little list of medications that I take. I'm on a fluid restriction, which means I'm not supposed to have more than 1.5 liters of fluid every day. And fluid is literally anything that goes into your body and that can turn into a liquid. So soup, ice cream, fruit, a lot of vegetables, most vegetables, juice, water, snow cones, like all of those things are considered fluids. And so I have to monitor the amount of fluids that I intake every day. I'm not supposed to have more than 1.5 liters. I go over that sometimes. But I also take diuretic to push the excess fluid out of my body. Because of my 4th surgery, I had to have my mitral valve replaced. So they replaced it with a mechanical valve. and I tick like a little clock, which drove me crazy when I first got it. But because of that valve, I have to take a blood thinner. Yes, ma'am.
So I could be standing next to you and you're going to be ticking like a bomb.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you give people public service announcements about that before they meet you in person or something?
Yes, I do. Actually,
because I'm asking, because I know the discussion for a meet and greet thing came on. I can see everybody like, hey. I'm like, what's that? What's that?
Now, if it's loud in the room and stuff, you won't hear it. But if it gets really quiet, you'll hear it.
Yeah. Got you.
Like if it's quiet, you'll hear it. But if it's loud, you won't hear it. But I do tick. And because of the mechanical valve, I take a blood thinner. That's one of the other things I take, because if my blood gets too thick and it clots up around the valve and stops the valve from working, then I will experience what is called sudden death. And that is exactly what it sounds like.
Ooh.
So I take a blood thinner every day. There, because I have a pacemaker, there are certain things like I have it to install the pacemaker. They actually cut into your muscle and like basically cut a chunk of muscle out and implant it in that spot, so that it doesn't protrude out your body too much. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not big, like the whole thing. I should have brought my other one. I have the old one. I asked them if I could have it. So once they took my last one out.
That's what's up.
I have it. I asked them if I could have it. It was mine. It was in my body. So I have the last one that I had. I should have brought it. I didn't even think about it, but I do have it. And so it sits, and like it sits right here. I don't know if y'all can see that. Okay. This is the scar from my pacemaker surgery, and that's it. That's about how big it is. Yeah.
Wow. See, they thought I was crazy when I had my hand surgery some years ago, and I kept the needle that I had in my hand, and they thought I was crazy for that. But I was like, we done became one.
Right. What y'all gonna do with it?
I mean, no, it's like mine. They've been there like, it was like what, 3-4 months? I think I had that thing on my hand.
Cleaned it out real good and gave it to me in a little baggie.
I'm saying mine in a nice little jar.
Yeah, they cleaned it out real good and sent me in a little baggie. When I left and went home, it came with me.
Yeah.
Now the funny thing, this is funny. This might make y'all laugh a little bit. So, after they gave it to me when I got it home, the alarm kept going off every day until the battery completely died.
Man, that would have messed me up, because I would have been thinking that's my new one. Man, I would have been like, oh shit, wait, what? And then forgot I got that. See, that would have been me. I was like, oh shit, wait, I just got this one. Hold on. And be like, oh shit, that's the old one. Yeah,
I did. I thought it was the new one.
Messed me all the way up. I wouldn't have been no good. I'm paranoid, anxiety on 200. I would have been all messed up. Wow.
Yeah, I did think
that would
it was the new one, but it wasn't. It was the old one. So until the battery completely died in that one, the alarm kept going off once a day.
Okay, so I am finna ask this question because I'm curious as hell since you didn't said it. So
go ahead, ask anything. Anything.
Do you know exactly where your old one is? Because I want to see it. I ain't gonna even lie to you.
You think know exactly where it is right now.
I'm like just curious just to see.
No, I don't know exactly where it is right now. And if I had thought about it, I would have had it so that y'all could see it. But I don't know exactly where it is right now.
Like I told you, your story is just like, I had never heard of any of this and that. Like, I've heard of congestive heart failure, but your whole diagnosis, your story, I had never heard at all until I met you last year on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question.
Now there's another. Yes, go ahead.
So I don't know if I'm jumping ahead too far, but I know we was on TikTok live and you was talking about your not rebirth but realive anniversary right after the 4th surgery. I think you were saying that you died or something like that, right?
I did.
You want to tell us a little bit about that,
yes.
Or is that okay?
Yes, I can tell you about it. Actually, today's the 14th, right? Yes. So yesterday was the 10-year anniversary of the day that I died twice. So I officially have lived 10 years in one day past the day that I died twice. So that particular day, Pinkston took a hat off.
Look, this a lot for me. Like, they've heard the story before. I'm over here. I got angina.
TK hasn't heard it.
I only heard bits and like the little pieces. I hadn't heard, like, a lot of this is still new for me. I only heard like bits and pieces because there was a guy on the live also that kind of went through something. So he had a pacemaker, but his story wasn't the same as Sleeves. So I've only heard bits and pieces of stuff. I don't know the whole story. So I like this. Her talking about she done died twice. I'm like,
I wasn't ready.
Yeah,
I'm like,
hey, this is a whole warrior and survivor right here for real.
After my 4th surgery, when they replaced the mitral valve, when they took mine out and put the metal one in, I was doing really, really well. Like, way better than they expected me to do. They again had told me that my recovery was going to be super long, and it wasn't in the beginning. That particular day, I had been really, really sore. After a surgery, I developed really bad insomnia every single time, and I was really sore. So after a surgery, like, they cut your chest bone open. They literally saw it open. And so it's like you have a broken bone in the middle of your body. All of that. Yeah, I was really sore. Like, you can't raise your elbows above your shoulders. Like, you're stiff. And so that day, I was hurting. There's nothing they can give you for that because it's just muscle aches. Yeah. And that night I couldn't sleep as usual. And I had asked my nurse and my tech if I could get out of the bed and sit in a chair, because I just felt like maybe it would help me with the soreness because I wouldn't be laid back. And so I was in the chair for a while in the room. And so my nurse and my tech came into the room and they was like, listen, you got to try and get some rest. Even if you just lay back in the bed and close your eyes in the dark, your body needs to rest because sleep is very important to healing. So I said, okay. So nurse got on one side, tech got on the other side, and they're helping me from the chair to the bed. As I went to sit down, like, I was literally going in the seating position toward the bed, everything cut off. Everything went black. The only way I can describe it to understand it is, ever like been in the bathroom in the shower or something, and then somebody else came in the bathroom, and then when they left out, they accidentally flipped the light switch off because they forgot, just like out of habit. And then you in the shower, and all of a sudden it's total blackness. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. And my heart stopped beating. It stopped beating for 8 beats. So you can count, like, put your hand on your chest, count to 8. It stopped for 8 beats. And then it started back. But when it started back, like I was like slumped because they had me like up under my arms helping me. And so like my body was slumped to the floor. Like basically they were holding me up from not like face planting on the floor. Um and I remember coming back and I was like, what was that? What just happened? What just happened? And this lady, so there's these people, I think these are the heroes of the cardiac department. I always say that there are people who are what they call tele-nurses. Their entire job, they work 12-hour shifts, just like a regular nurse. Their entire job is to come and sit and watch heart monitors for 12 hours a day. Like on these screens, everybody that's on the floor, on that cardiac floor, has a monitor on. And their job is to watch heartbeats for 12 hours a day. You can't play on your for 12 hours a day.
Wow.
And so one of the tele-nurses was running in and was like, what's going on? And they were like, my nurse was like, she just went out. And so they were like, get her back in the bed. Tele-nurse runs back out. And I'm still like, what is going on? What is this? What's happening? Completely confused, terrified. And I remember looking up and looking out the door, and I saw the tele-nurse coming back around the corner, heading back toward my room. And it did it again. Black again. At that time, it was out, I think, for 12 or 13 beats. The equivalent of 12 to 13 beats. Then it came back. And when it came back, my nurse was in the room. The tech was still there. Another nurse, the tele-nurse, and another, I think, tele-nurse were in there. And I just like jumped up and was like, what is going on? What is it? Like, mind you, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know what's going on. I just know it's like nothing. And then I come back. And I couldn't tell, how long I had been. I just knew I was awake, and then it was nothing, and then I was awake. And so the male nurse that was in the room, he said, your heart stopped beating. What you mean my heart stopped beating? Like
that part.
Your heart don't just stop beating. And so he said, do you have a pacemaker? And I said, because after the surgery, they hook you up to a temporary pacemaker anyways, just so that your heart can kind of gradually get back to what it's supposed to do. And I said, I have a temporary one hooked up, but it's not turned on. He said, we're going to turn it back on. So they turned it back on. Called my cardiothoracic surgeon, explained to him what was going on. He said, tell her I said, do not get up out of the bed for anything. I will see her in the morning. Don't get up to go to the bathroom. Stay in that bed and don't move. Is that okay? I called my mama. As you can imagine, 2 o'clock in the morning, her child calling her from the hospital. She woke up in a panic. She was asleep. She answered the phone in full panic. What's going on? I explained to her what had happened. And she was like, as you can imagine, any mama would. I called my daddy. Same thing.
Yeah.
By 7 a.m., my daddy was in the hospital. He made it to me. Neither one of my parents, I don't think either one of my parents went back to sleep after that.
How could you? How could you?
Right. I ain't go to sleep either. I was scared. I'm telling you, I was scared to close my eyes. I'm not going to even lie. And so my doctor came in. And by the time he got there, my mama was there. And we were like, what's going on? And he was like, well, where the valve is, there's some swelling. My mama said she was up praying. There's some swelling in that area. And it, just needs to heal a little bit more. And we'll be okay. what's the name, and say she's never had a complication before, and she'll be fine. She absolutely will not need a pacemaker. And me and my mama look at her. Because like I told y'all, every time they tell me I'm going to do something, it always happens. And sure enough, I ended up needing a pacemaker. So now I am what's called 100% paced, which means every single heartbeat I have is generated by my pacemaker. What happened was, let me explain. So where the valve is, it sits next to what's called the conductor in your heart. So like if you ever watch like one of those TV shows that look like it go boom, 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 part of your heart, the AM beats, it sends an electrical signal through the conductor to your ventricles to tell your ventricles to beat. So the boom is the atrium and the ventricles beating. Where the valve is sits right next to the conductor. Because my valve is metal, my electrical signal gets lost. So my atrium still beats, but my ventricles don't. And so I have, for my pacemaker, I have what's called a biventricular ICD, which means I have a biventricular, which means I have a wire to both of my ventricles. Because at first I only had one, but that didn't work. But wire goes in each of one of my ventricles so that I can have a heartbeat. When I go into the doctor's office for them to check my pacemaker, they drop my heartbeat down to see if I've regained any of my own ventricular heartbeat. By law, they're only allowed to drop me down to 30 beats a minute, because anything below 30 beats a minute is not enough to sustain life. So they drop me to 30 and see if my heart will kick in, and it hasn't in the last 10 years. So I don't have enough of a ventricular heartbeat of my own to sustain life, so for me to live. So every one of my heartbeats is generated in my pacemaker. And then I also have the ICD part is like the clear boom, the shocker. I have one of those, a defibrillator in my chest as well. So I have a pacemaker and a defibrillator combo. So if it were to go wrong, my pacemaker is designed to correct my heartbeat in 3 ways, because I developed arrhythmias, which is an irregular heartbeat. It's designed to correct it in 3 ways. The first way is it will either speed my heartbeat up until it catches and gets into a regular rhythm, or it will slow it down until it catches and is in a regular rhythm. And if neither of those work, it'll shock me. It's never had to shock me before.
Wow. Technology is like, wow, like freaking amazing.
Yeah. It's never had to shock me. I've been told that the shock feels like someone kicks you in your chest and then you pass out. But mine has never had to shock me before, and I'm very thankful for it.
I couldn't even imagine. Like, damn, I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
Wow.
The only other thing that you asked me earlier about adjustments I've had to make in life, the only other adjustment that affects me on a day-to-day basis is that I have this what's called stem. So there's a nerve that runs along the left side of your body, right?
Okay, hold on, because you broke up for a minute.
That nerve. And okay, can y'all hear me now? Sometimes when I lay on my left side, the electrical signal, and when the electrical signal goes to my heart to make it beat, it'll hit that nerve and it'll jump a little bit. And it feels like I just do a little, yeah, that's what it is. So that's the only other day.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. That T-Mobile internet, so it's all good. That slow internet, but what I was going to ask you, even worse. So this is a lot, right? It's a lot of information. It's a lot to process. So like when dating, like how soon do you give certain information? What do you tell people, or do you tell them anything, or do you wait until it progresses, or like how do you?
I guess it kind of depends on how much I like the person.
Oh, okay.
I know it's probably weird. Like I ain't trying to tell everybody everything. But what ends up happening is I have scars. You know, I have a scar down the middle of my chest that's visible, and I have this scar over here. And so what ends up happening a lot of times is people be like, what happened? And so, I mean, sometimes I'll just say, oh, I had, you know, if I don't really like the person, I'd be like, I had open heart surgery and I had a breaker. Depending on how much I like the person determines whether or not I go into full details and tell them. But I typically do it pretty early in the process because this is something that I have and it's going to be with me for the rest of my life. So if you're going to be in my life and part of your life too. So I want people to be able to make informed decisions. Like not everybody can deal with it. Not everybody can handle it. And so I want people to be able to make informed decisions. And if it's something you can't handle, I ain't tripping about that. You know what I'm saying? You can't handle it. It's cool. It's not something that you are required to be able to deal with. So, you know, I want them to be able to make an informed. This is something. Thank you very kind of me and have a great life. I mean, I can't change it.
Yeah. And also, so you said that you have a 24-year-old son. Like,
I do.
Was that relationship impacted in any sort? Like, was it like how did you juggle that? Like, or how did he deal? Yeah.
Yes. So he didn't really have to deal with it. Other than me just going to the doctor. Well, when he was first born, because they did tell me that it could be hereditary. So I was taking him to cardiologists. I was taking him to my pediatric cardiologist. I probably took him the first 5 or 6 years of his life. Got to the point where my cardiologist was like, do you not trust me anymore? And I was like, what do you mean? He said, I keep telling you he's fine. And you keep bringing him back. Like and I was like, listen, sir, I probably took him until he was 6. If I'm not mistaken, I think I took him until he was 6. And he was like, you don't believe what I tell you? I believe, but you know, just in case, you know, but after that, and he doesn't have any of those issues. Other than that, it did not really directly affect him until I had to have my 3rd surgery.
Okay, because he was
in 6th grade when I had my 3rd surgery. And so I had the 3rd surgery, you know, excuse me, that one went pretty standard. Routine per se, you know, but there were things. It was the 4th surgery because my life situation had changed. When I went into the hospital to have my 4th open heart surgery, we were homeless. I went into the hospital to have that surgery and didn't know where I was going to go when I got out the hospital. He had to go stay with friends from school. it was a lot. And then the recovery, because of the complications, because of all of the other things, the recovery from that was much harder. And our life situation was much harder. I ended up staying with my godmother's best friend after I got out the hospital, but she was going through life. And while I could stay there, my son could not, because she was going through a divorce at the time, and her soon-to-be ex-husband would not allow another male to sleep overnight at the house where his daughter lived. So she, the family that he had been staying with, allowed him to stay with them during the week. He was in school. He was in 7th grade. He literally would call me. He would have his teachers, I need to call and check on my mama every day. And let me not answer that phone. I might not answer that first time, but I better catch it that second time. It was going to be a problem. The family that he stayed with, they would bring him to me on Fridays, and he would stay with me Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and then they would pick him back up on Monday. So I got to see my son on the weekends. And over the weekend, like he was my caregiver, to be quite honest. We would be in the kitchen. I would show him how to cook stuff. So he would cook food, because like I stayed with her, but she didn't like she had her own life going on. I just happened to stay in an extra bedroom. He would do my laundry. I wasn't allowed to get in the shower without supervision, in case I slipped and fell. So that's when I would actually get in the shower. I would just take like little sink baths, little sponge baths during the week. But on the weekend, I would get in the shower and he would be right there. He would try and comb my hair, because I had hair at the time, as much as he could. He cooked for me. He, would lay my clothes out. Like pretty much everything that I needed for the next week, he would do on the weekend.
Well, kudos to your son for that. I mean,
definitely,
especially at that age, 7th grade, 12, 13 years old, for just stepping up and doing what needed to be done. So kudos to him. I hope, that's awesome.
Yeah. One time I remember, this was probably the hardest situation that we dealt with. I developed this blood clot. Even though I was on a blood thinner, I developed a blood clot in my
Uh-oh. Did she freeze up?
Did I freeze up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, you did. Okay. Go back to you developed the blood clot.
Yeah, I had developed a blood clot in my external jugular vein. I was in the hospital, and then they were moving me to ICU. Well, I didn't have anywhere for my son to go. So he was at the hospital with me. And typically you ain't supposed to have overnight guests in ICU, but I ain't have anywhere for my son to go. And so when they came to get me, to take me from the regular room to ICU, when they got me into the ICU room, the nurse told him, she gave him a couple dollars and said, go to the vending machine, give us about 10 minutes or so, and then you can come back. 10 or 15 minutes, because we need to get her hooked up to everything. So he left out. And during that time, they hooked me up to all the machines and the such. There was a tech doing an echo on my heart. And the nurse was there and all of this. And so when he finally came back into the room, it looked really different than when he had left out, because now I'm in this room and there are machines and there are things beeping and there are wires and tubes and everything coming from everywhere. And I remember he walked into the room and he looked at me and he said, no. And he turned around and he took off running. I'm his mama. So my instinct is to go chase after my baby. I tried to jump up to go after my baby. The nurse dove over me. She said, you can't. I said, what do you mean? She said, if you get out of this bed, you'll be dead before you make it to the doorway. You have to let him go.
Damn.
I laid there. I looked and I was just like, he was gone for a little while, and then he came back in the room. He walked around because the tech was still over there. He walked around. He crawled up in the bed with me, and he laid on me and he said, "Mama, please don't die. Just please don't die. Don't leave me." And he laid on me and he cried like a little baby. And I cried. And the nurse cried. And the tech cried. We was all in there crying. Because in that moment, I mean, what do you do? It's that I'm all he has. And he literally laid on me and cried himself to sleep. And he just begged me not to die and not to leave him. And I begged God not to take me because I didn't want to leave my baby.
Whew,
thankfully, here I am.
Now I can tell you, as a single mom, I know that feeling all too well. Especially over the summer when I had my medical issue, and I was waiting to tell my son because I didn't know if they were going to release me or not. And he knows our routine. So when I'm not at home at a certain time, he called. And he didn't got crafty to where he video calls. He don't phone call, he video calls. And if I don't answer that video call, he already is like, something ain't right. So as soon as he answered and he seen me hooked up to the IV and everything, them eyes went white. And I was like, breathe. Mommy's okay. And I had to go into explaining because I know my mama sure couldn't explain it to him. Lord Jesus, nobody could explain it but me for him to understand. So I had to, explain to add a little humor in there. I was like, well, mommy is currently auditioning to be a vampire for Hotel Transylvania. So I'm getting a blood transfusion, see this, and I'm explaining everything to him. But he still was nerved because he was, at that time now, I'm getting like 30-minute checks. He checking on me like every 30 minutes. So just that look in his eyes, I know that feeling of when you're in that situation and it's like you're in that situation and you're, like you said, all he has. And that look and that feeling, y'all both going through the motions because that was probably our first encounter on that level. And that I was in it. That's a prayer I pray every day, is God leave me here as long as possible for my baby. Like,
question. Another question. Other than your son, right, or the obvious, like, who has been your strongest support?
My mama.
Your mother? I didn't know, mother, father,
Yeah, my mama. Listen. So I remember when I had my very first open heart surgery. Mm-hmm. When I went to go in, I asked my mama, how am I going to know I didn't die? And she said, when you open your eyes, you'll see me. When you wake up, you'll see my face. As long as you see my face, you know you didn't die. And so that has been a staple. Every single surgery I've had, as an adult, I have told them, listen, don't let me wake up until my mama is right there.
You think you did.
Yeah. They did it one time. I think it was the last pacemaker surgery. They let me wake up and I didn't see my mama's face. Listen, I was hollering. Hollering and screaming. Not the anesthesia had you confused, not understanding in the moment. If you hollering and screaming, you obviously alive. But I opened my eyes and looked around, and it was the room that they had me in was white. It was like a white curtain. Nobody was in the room with me. Nobody was there.
Yeah.
You thought you was on your way. So is there anyone else in your family that deals with this condition, mother side, father side? Do you know where?
I found out a few years ago that I have a cousin that was born with a ventricular septal defect.
Maternal.
Hers,
maternal.
On my father's side.
Paternal, okay.
Paternal side. But hers closed up, within months after birth. And that's the only other person. But no, nobody else in my family has had any cardiac, like none of it. Not to the level where,
Right.
The only one.
Well, definitely shout out to Mama, because Woo,
baby. Shout out to the support.
Yes, because when
my family your baby, my son, my siblings, my daddy, they out, but your mama gonna always. I mean, it's your mama. Yeah. I'm her firstborn.
Yeah. It's your mama.
It's my mama.
Definitely. So I know you're a busy bee. You do a lot. That's something else that I admire. So with the jobs that you've had during this journey, how hard of a time had you experienced when you've had to take off for your surgeries?
Well, the only ones that I had to deal with were the last two. Because the other ones I was a kid. The first two I was a kid. The last two major surgeries, honestly, I wasn't employed because, the third surgery I was employed, but then with having to, I couldn't work, and the job did not have benefits. It didn't have like medical leave, so I had to stop. And then when I had my fourth surgery, it was after the third surgery, and I had the fourth surgery because the third surgery didn't work.
Yeah.
So after I had to stop working from the third surgery, it just kind of, that's pretty much kind of how it went into the fourth surgery. So I wasn't employed during that time.
So how close were the third and fourth surgery together?
I had the third surgery February 5th, 2011. And I had the fourth surgery January 9th, 2013. They actually wanted to do the fourth surgery in like 2011, later in 2011 or 2012. But because my life situation was what it was, my doctor told me that he didn't feel comfortable putting me on the table with all the other life stresses that I had going on. He didn't feel comfortable putting me, under that kind of, because he wasn't sure if I'd come out.
Right.
Because of the other stress. Yeah. So they postponed the fourth surgery as far out as they could. Like I was going back really regularly. And then we just got to the point where you got to have it or you ain't gonna make it. So that's why it took so long to have the fourth surgery. And I mean, my life stresses were still what they were, but it was like, had a surgery or not be here.
Yeah.
And so I had to have the surgery.
Was Definitely. That a time where you was almost like F it? Like
no. Primarily because I had a kid.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I mean, I got a kid. And not for nothing, my parents are orphans. My mom's mom died when she was 2 years old. My dad is an orphan. My parents actually met in the orphanage when they were 7 years old. I had seen firsthand what adults that were children orphans look like.
Okay.
There were child orphans. I saw firsthand what they look like. I saw firsthand the struggles that they have. And I didn't want to do that to my kid. Because if I was gone, that's what he would be. Like, I mean, he would have, my mom and them would have taken him and, but it ain't nothing like, it's your mama. And so I didn't want my son to be an orphan. So giving up was never an option. I had no choice but to fight.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Never been an option.
Wow.
It still is not an option. And at this point, when it comes to like my heart itself, everything that can be done to my own heart has been done. So we're at the point where if by chance something else were to happen and it would be that was with my heart, my only recourse would be a transplant at this point. But I told my doctor, sir, somebody else's heart might not know how to love my people the way my people need to be loved. So I'm going to keep my own.
That's not how that goes.
I know that's not how it goes, but that's what I told the doctor.
Wait, that's different. Okay, whatever.
I'll tell you what I told
And I know you did. And I can just, yeah, that is so you.
I ain't finna go there.
Somebody else's heart might not know how to love my people the right way, so I need to keep my own. And so that's what I believe is going to be. I got mine. Listen, it might have had some defects. It might have had some issues, but it's mine, and it still works. And
so, do you mind sharing your age, or is that too much?
No, I'm 42 years old.
42. Okay.
I was going to ask that earlier.
Yeah, I'm 42. Had my first 2 surgeries when I was 12, and I'm about to celebrate 30 years. So, yeah, I'm 42.
Wow.
42 years old, and they didn't think they told me I shouldn't live past 6.
That part.
And my goal is to be 100 because they told me that there was no way that I'd ever be able to live to be 100. So I want to be at least 100 years old with all my faculties, though. I want to have my faculties.
Do y'all want to live that? Do y'all want to see 100?
Yes, if I could see 100 plus, that is a blessing.
100 plus, but at least 100. I want to be at least 100.
At least.
What about you?
At least.
Pinks.
You want to see 100?
I don't think so.
Right, that's like, I mean, you roll the mirror around.
Okay,
no, I want to have all my faculties. I want to still have my mind and be able to take care of myself and all that. But I want to get to at least 100 with all my faculties.
Yeah. Because I don't know if y'all pay attention. I post a lot of that on my Facebook when they have the older people, Black people or whatever that 100 and something. They just celebrated 102 and they're in their right mind. They moving and grooving still. Like I share them on the post because I'm like that in this day and age when everything is going on, that is a blessing on a whole different level. And they moving and grooving. It's that like the Black hairdresser been doing hair for like 70, 80 years and she's still doing hair. She's still moving and grooving. Standing up on and rolling hair and doing hair. Like that is a whole level of blessing and just, man, bless me, God, to get to that level. Like, say, I'm still moving and grooving and in my right mind. Man, that's a whole different blessing. Now, if I'm suffering, I ain't gonna say I probably want to live to 100. It's still a blessing to be here. But to be at that level where I'm still, like I said, in my right mind, aware, I'm still getting around. Ain't nobody like, spoon feed me. I ain't drinking my vegetables out of straw. And that's another thing while we're talking about that part. So I see you be on your smoothies. Oh, Lord, I just ain't ready to be drinking my vegetables at 44. I just ain't. And I know that you're also vegan. Does that have anything to do? Was you on some sort of vegan stuff? I didn't seen you post on the mac. You still ain't sent me the macaroni and cheese recipe neither.
Oh, I got you. But I am not vegan because I don't eat beef, pork, or dairy.
Damn near vegan. Look, damn near vegan. But cool.
But I do eat
because I think that's why I thought that.
Yeah, I do eat seafood. I do eat poultry, so turkey and chicken. I eat eggs. But I don't eat beef, pork, or dairy. No cow, no pig. That's it.
Got you. Yeah, them ain't necessarily too much of mine, especially not no pork.
So what you do when you want some ice cream?
They have non-dairy ice cream.
They do.
It's not nasty.
Mhm.
It's actually really good. Because I wanted this one time. I'm telling y'all, I wanted a shake. I wanted a strawberry shake, and I was like, I hadn't had one in a long time. And so I went to Sprouts. I was like, they had this vanilla ice cream in there, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna try it. And y'all, it was good. It's made out of. I think the one I got was made out of coconut milk. It was really good. They have a bunch of different varieties, and I made me a strawberry. That was probably leasing, but yeah. When I want ice cream, I just go get non-dairy ice cream.
Okay.
And I can make some dishes that are completely vegan and they taste really, really good. One of the things that I like to do is to take things that we would traditionally eat and change the ingredient list to make them healthier and not sacrifice the flavor, not sacrifice the taste. And so, yeah.
Because I know, like I said, we had the conversation about the macaroni and cheese before. See, all that stuff is probably definitely why I thought you was vegan. Because you be having your little
non-dairy cheese.
Smoothie. You be on your smoothies and like you be tearing up. And I'm like,
I do juice. I juice like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so yeah.
So you say you juice every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? So is that all you consume that day?
Yes, juice and water.
Juice and water.
Mm-hmm. Or every now and then I might eat the things that I would juice, but it has to be raw.
And you're able to stay within your liquid limit situation?
Yes, because typically on the days that I don't juice, I reduce to kind of balance it out.
Okay. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, huh? What's your favorite juice? Like ingredient?
I don't have a favorite because they're never the same every time. Every one of them is different. Because I literally just, what do I have a taste for? And whatever I have a taste for that day, I make into juice. But then I also make sure, because the whole point is to get as many fruits and vegetables into your body as you can, and you actually get them in a lot easier when you juice them. You get more of them in when you juice them. And so I just grab produce and juice it.
Okay.
So if I like to eat it, then I pretty much will juice it. Well, let me not say that, because I like to eat peaches. I don't really like peaches juiced. I like eating mangoes. I don't really like them juiced because they make the juice thick.
Okay.
So I don't like juicing those. I absolutely positively will not ever eat a beet. However, I have found a way to juice them without tasting the beet. I have found out that if you soak the beet for a minimum of 24 hours in vinegar and water, it pulls out all the dirt taste and you don't taste it at all.
That beets taste worse than dirt.
They absolutely do. I completely agree with you. But I have found out that if you soak the beet in vinegar and water, like I cut it in half, soak it in vinegar and water for a minimum of 24 hours, sometimes longer, it pulls all that out. And then when you mix it with all the other stuff that you're juicing, you don't taste it. So you get all the benefits without the taste.
Look here.
Pickle beets.
Man, say they tried to beat me to death with trying to get my iron back up, and that was the first thing they said.
Oh yeah, I remember you were struggling.
I wouldn't be able to eat it.
Man, I was having problems.
I would not be able to eat it at all.
Yeah.
But I have learned how to be able to drink it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like you. Okay.
Yeah. Typically what I do when I get ready to make juice, I just decide what color I want it to be. And then I find stuff to make my juice that color. So I might want a red juice or a green juice or a purple juice or orange juice, and I do stuff to make my juice be that color.
That's what's up. That is what's up.
I forgot what I was.
That old man memory is tragic.
Whatever.
See, if you had you some non-dairy ice cream, that might help you out with your memory.
I'm about sick of you.
TK, my mama said to tell you liver is a good source for you to be able to build your iron.
We had that conversation.
Yeah, that was another one. Woo,
listen, when I was pregnant with my son, I had really, really low iron. I was very anemic when I was pregnant. And so I had to eat liver. I could tell you, I don't know nobody else's, but I would eat my mama's. I don't eat beef at all anymore. But when I was pregnant with my son, I would eat my mom. She, like once a week, I had to eat it. And she would make that good liver and onions and that gravy. Whew. But I only eat hers. I won't eat nobody else's.
See, I'm like that too with different stuff. But I guess I don't know. I know my mama cook it, but my mama
said if she cooked it, you'd eat it, TK.
I probably would. I probably would. I would actually be willing to try it. I just like that's one thing on my menu that I don't cook at all. So I was brave because I went to the store. I had every intention of cooking it. I did. I bought it and I looked every time I opened my like, what else I can take? Let me go take an extra iron pill today because I ain't gonna eat that. I looked at it to the point I was like, you know what? Let me just go and put it in the freezer because I don't want it to go bad.
And it probably stayed in the freezer.
It's still in the freezer. I could go pull it out right now.
I believe.
Yeah.
But my iron is up very well. It is up to normal levels. So, I mean, I made some other adjustments. I just didn't do the liver and the beef.
Mm-hmm. Green leafy green vegetables have a lot of iron in them as well. So that's another really great.
That was my alternative.
Want to get it from animals because honestly, the animals get it from green leafy vegetables. So you can get it from the green leafy vegetables as well. So
and I ate
another really great source
and cabbage, and I ate all that. I even
the
had
darker the green, the better. The darker the green, the better. I do have to be careful with my green vegetable intake because green vegetables also have a lot of vitamin K in them, and vitamin K thickens your blood. And I take a blood thinner, so I have to be really careful with the amount of green vegetables that I intake. But you know, I just keep it pretty much consistent, and then I have a machine where I can check it and make sure I'm not too thick or too thin because I have to be mindful of that.
Yeah, look at Dino and his little stuff over there with his vitamins. Oh, shucks, that's what's up. But yes, I did. I did the leafies and the beans. I added extra to that because I was struggling. I even had bought some. I went to Luby's and actually bought me some liver, and I was like,
"That's the restaurant down here."
I know what Luby's is. We used to have them up here. They closed most of them up here.
Oh, we got a couple still here. We got a couple still here. So I hit them about once a week. So I did. I tried. I tried a couple times to eat. I was just like, But again, my iron is up to the level it's supposed to be. So I did what I was supposed to do.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I don't plan to go back down that aisle ever in life. So I will be keeping that routine that I have because that was hell and some more hell. But so hell no.
Pinks, you real quiet.
But I wouldn't.
Girl, you done took me for a loop. That's a lot. I just commend you because knowing me, I get the whole thing about having kids. Well, baby, I'd have been tired. I'd have been like, oh Lord, I'm tired.
I was.
Like at a young age to have to start something like that and just continue throughout 42 years. It's like, that's a lot. That's a lot. And I'd be Lord, I'm tired, but you making it work. You doing what you supposed to do. They'd have tried to take my beef. I'd have been like, I'm gonna eat this sausage, and
they didn't take my beef. I gave it up.
You did it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you doing
it's been 5 years. It'll be 5 years next month since I've had beef, pork, or dairy. I gave it up myself.
See, and
they didn't take it from
doing what needs to be done. Some of us hard-headed. We ain't gonna do it. we gonna be drinking, eating, doing whatever, that we ain't supposed to be doing. So with the life changes and things that you're doing to continue to press on, like, commendable, girl, you doing it.
Thank you.
So what you over there eating?
Grapes.
You've been eating grapes for 3 hours.
I like grapes, dog.
Matter of fact, longer than that, you was eating grapes. What was that? About 4? Dude, you gonna turn into a grape.
I could be eating
more of a raisin.
I could be eating cookies.
Right. But you still gotta watch that sugar in that fruit, though.
I'm diluting it with the water.
You know what? I promise. I just
tell you this, ma'am, you got me with the matters of the heart. I was not expecting this type of matters of the heart.
I know. I'm always,
nice little twist.
Kudos to you on that. I was expecting matters of the heart, the emotional aspect, not the
physical one.
Physical, yeah. Those matters of the heart. Well, those are the matters that really matter. So, good job, man.
For real.
This
Thank
is
you.
a great show, a great topic.
Definitely
a twist from what I'm used to.
True.
Thank you for being open and transparent, and for just spreading awareness. Man, I've never even heard of a conversation like this, but I have heard of people dealing with similar issues or conditions. So kudos to you, man. Keep talking about everything. Keep spreading knowledge. So yeah. Kudos.
Was there any questions in the comments? I wasn't really looking, but I'll answer.
I didn't see any. I didn't see any.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think like you I think you did them like you did Pinks. I think you messed them up. I don't think they was ready.
It's a lot. It is. And I understand it. I understand that it's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to absorb, especially in one sitting. And of course, I didn't have to absorb it in one sitting. I lived it. So
yeah,
to sit and talk about it in one sitting, it's like, woo. But
yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Have you ever had someone not want to date you because of it or anything like that?
Yes, I have. I was dating this guy right around the time I got ready to have my 3rd surgery. And like we was together, and I went to the hospital. There was a freak snowstorm in Dallas. Go figure. And it took me, the town that I lived in, my hometown is about an hour south of Dallas. But because of this snowstorm, it took me like almost 3.5, almost 4 hours to make it to Dallas. We left at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning for me to be there by 7. That's how bad it was. I made it to the hospital, got ready to go into the surgery. And they came, like I was in the back waiting for them to come get me for surgery. Like I had IV, everything was in. And they came and said, we're too short staffed to do your surgery. So we're going to have to postpone it to tomorrow because not enough people could make it in because of the roads to get here. And so they were like, they put my mom and my son up. They gave them like this little apartment that the hospital owns, like right next to the hospital, for them to stay in that night. And then I stayed in the hospital because I was fully prepped for surgery. So that night I called him, to let him know, give him an update, and was like, hey, what you doing? And he said, sitting at my girlfriend's house.
Oh, he had already moved on.
Excuse me?
You at my house?
No, he didn't.
My girlfriend's house getting my scalp greased. Because he had a lot of hair. And I was like, you know what? And he said, yeah. I just couldn't do it. The thought of possibly losing you is too much. I just can't do it.
But he still lost you because he.
Well, that's a matter of the heart. Well,
yeah.
Just want to get him just bam.
And I
wow.
So where was you gonna tell me? Like, where this other girlfriend?
That part, like,
and it was. I mean, he said it that way for the shock factor. He said it purposely that way so that I would end it immediately because he knew that's exactly what I was going to do. That wasn't his girlfriend, but it was somebody else that had wanted to talk to him, and he wasn't talking to her because we was together. And so, yeah. But he said it that way on purpose for the shock factor. And I was like, right. He didn't even know when I called him that I had not had the surgery. So when I called you, what if I was calling you to tell you I just got out of surgery? Like, yeah. So that was it.
Damn.
But I've had other people be like, that's a whole lot to deal with. And like, they may not, he was the one that was very forthcoming with saying it. Right. But I've had other people that was like, man, that's a lot to deal with. And they just kind of slowly back away, And so, I mean, yeah. But I am very, especially at this great age of 42, I'm very, hey, so is this too much for you? Can you handle this? Because this will always, I'm very like upfront with the question now. I ask specific questions. Are you sure you can deal with this? It's a lot. Hey, just FYI, this is what it is. So I'm very upfront about it now because,
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that. And I think now as we have gotten older, there are things we even more of, because I know that's the first thing I'm jumping out the box with. Is like, just to let you know, I have a son with autism.
Right.
Is that too much for you? Because they got to be around all the time. What level? Hey, he ain't going nowhere. He mine.
Exactly. This heart, it ain't going nowhere. It's gonna be here.
I don't know. You
might get some what?
I said she might get another one.
No, I'm keeping this one.
That's the one.
You don't listen.
I do listen. I listen very well.
You know how he is. It's the Libra in him. He be pushy.
Cushy. What?
Pushy.
Cushy.
I didn't say cushy.
Pushy.
Where your mom at? Pushy.
Special.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what? Yeah, I'm a little worried about you. So was that your outro that you gave? Because you gave a nice little message. I was just curious.
No, I just want to say it before I forgot.
Oh, because you've been doing that very well today.
Been sleepy all day.
If you took a nap instead of eating a pound of grapes, an hour, you could have had a nap. Those ain't even the cotton candy ones, are they?
I don't like the cotton candy ones. These are just the regular green grapes.
That's just okay. Well, after you chew that, you want to go ahead and give your outro, so we ain't got to hear you smacking.
Yeah, I mean, Sister Lee.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, first I want to say kudos on everything, on first of all raising an awesome son, being an awesome daughter, for your everything that you have overcame and that you are still overcoming. Keep grinding, keep pressing. But I will say this: remember that we are not meant to do everything alone. I see that you are a fighter. I see that you are strong, and I see that you feel like you can handle it, and you probably can handle it alone, but it doesn't mean that you have to handle it alone. All right. So TK, again, great job on putting together tonight's show. look forward to more awesome topics like this. Definitely a great job. All right. That's all I got. Everybody holler at me. DJ Unk Life on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Peace. That's it.
All right. Slee, give your outro.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. Keep swimming.
In the words of Dory, just keep swimming. I was telling y'all about the 10-year anniversary that I just celebrated yesterday, and I look at how my life was just 10 years ago, and I look at how it is now. And it was hard. It was difficult. I had, ups and downs throughout these last 10 years, but just keep swimming. Keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah. Just keep swimming.
I might have to go watch that with my baby.
That's it.
Jackie said much.
And YouTube and Instagram. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
My name's right there.
Jackie said much respect given to you.
Thank you so very much.
All right, Nika Pinks.
My turn. Well, I just want to say, Slee, thank you so much for coming on here tonight, being open, transparent, and, bringing knowledge, letting us know what's the true matters of the heart that, like Dee said, really, really matter. It was a lot. It was a lot to process, to take in, but I mean, it's life. Everybody has something. Everybody has a story. Every story is different. Yours, most definitely, it's a beautiful story. It's a story of, a trial coming up and you pushing through it. And, you bulldozing stuff to the side and you just keep going and keep going and keep going. And that says a lot about you and your character. So I never got an opportunity to sit down, and talk to you or hear your story or even part of it. So for me, just to hear it, it's like, wow, that's a lot. And I give it to you, girl. You a strong individual because, baby,
I come from a very strong woman.
I'd be crazy. But yes, so
I was bred in a womb of strength. So I have no choice but
yes, there it is. So
I love that. Oh, I love that. That's what's up. What? Oh, Pink's message.
Yeah, Philip Walker then showed up. Philip Walker.
Oh. Pink, your husband then showed up.
My husband then showed up. Yeah, he did.
You're welcome, Mama.
Yes.
My mom was watching.
Tell her hello and thank you so much. That's that. I just definitely want to thank you, Slee, for coming on tonight. Because I know we talked about it some months back, and hey, like you say, life be life. And when I hit you up about it, you were very open. And I definitely thank you for coming on, because I'm telling you, your story just is it's amazing to me, and it speaks so in volumes as a single mom. A lot of times we go through and how much we have to juggle, and we worry we still, even in the midst of our storm, we still worry about our kids and try to do the best that we can for our kids, even though we are not in the healthiest places, but we do. And, it may be rough, but we still push through and continue the journey no matter what. And that speaks volumes on top of volumes. And I'm just so glad that you are still here and you beat the odds, because your testimony is out of this world. Definitely. And I definitely hope that this helps somebody tonight. Like, really, because it didn't put me in a whole different place and mind space myself. And until you're actually in these trenches and have to deal with anything, even at a medium nature, you wouldn't even begin to understand. So I definitely salute you for that, and appreciate you for not only coming on, but also following and supporting, because you do. Yes. So I thank you. To everybody that watched tonight, I thank you as always and appreciate. I know we haven't had a episode of this nature for a little bit. Some people don't want to come on and talk and tell their stories. So we're working on it, hopefully getting some more stories out like this that educate, besides autism. But we always have somebody for autism that don't mind talking, because that journey is a whole nother one in itself. But again, thank y'all for tuning in. Much love, and we appreciate. Definitely follow everybody on their handles. Their stuff is in there. Also, I posted the link to the actual website that we have. I haven't been advertising that enough, but y'all can go on there and leave messages. Also comment. That's also another direct way where you can catch the catch of the replays. If you missed the episode as well, thank you, Russell. Please do watch the replay. It's a great episode, watching it from the beginning. But again, I thank y'all, TikTok family, YouTube family, everybody that came on and watched as well as supported tonight. Most definitely appreciated and never taken for granted. So on that note, we are out for tonight. Don't know what the topic would be, but already y'all know, just check the Facebook, TikTok, one of those, and it's going to be what it's going to be. But thank y'all as always, and we out.